Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of what will be Retro Rebound. What we want to do with this series is share some of our favorite games of all time. Some of these games you might like, some of these games you might hate. But what we're going to do is share our personal opinions of why we love these games so much. We expect this to be a weekly series switching between Chris, Aaron, and I, so that way none of us have to rush to get the videos out there. We can each go at a 3-week pace. This is kind of an experimental series, I would say, so if you like it or don't, please comment and let us know. Let's get this show on the road. Please enjoy the first episode, Punch-Out! Punch-Out was released in North America on October 18th, 1987. It was released on home console after the popularity of their two Punch-Out arcade cabinets. Punch-Out ranks the 17th best-selling NES game of all time with a little bit over 3 million total sales. But before the game hit shelves in North America, in Japan, the game was given out as a prize for a Famicom golf tournament. The cartridge given out lacked Mike Tyson and also had a gold finish to it, similar to The Legend of Zelda. Since the game lacked Mike Tyson at the time, Super Macho Man took head as the final challenger. After Mike Tyson's Punch-Out sold well in North America, they eventually released the Mike Tyson version in Japan as well. 3 years after the release of the original Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Mike Tyson was suddenly taken out of the game. There are many rumors that go around saying it had to do with the rape allegations.
When I was falsely accused of raping that wretched swine of a woman, Desiree Washington, it was the most horrible time of my life. It was the most heinous day of my life because I was
biting of the ear.
Look at it again. Watch, Mike. Come inside. This is the second bite of the round.
But it was actually none of those. The real reason why Mike Tyson suddenly disappeared in the game was simply because the license ran out, and Nintendo decided not to renew it. The reason being his recent loss to James Douglas. Nintendo replaced Mike Tyson with a character named Mr. Dream. The only difference between Mike Tyson and Mr. Dream is the sprite. Everything else, the fighting animations, the punches, are exactly the same. Funny enough, Mr. Dream comes from Dreamland, the same place as Kirby. I'm not really too sure how this fits into the Nintendo canon, but it's interesting nonetheless. Punch-Out still continues to be released on Nintendo's Virtual Console, although the version released is the one containing Mr. Dream. Punch-Out has two main series sequels, Super Punch-Out for the SNES and Punch-Out for the Wii. It's been over 8 years at this point since we last saw Little Mac in a Punch-Out game. Fans are desperately waiting for his return, although Little Mac has made an appearance in the most recent Super Smash Bros. Games as a playable character. So after all of that brief history, it's time for me to explain why I adore this game so much and consider it to be my favorite game of all time. To begin, this game is just so simple that anyone can play it. Anyone at all. I first actually played this game when I was around 5 years old. There was something about the giant, massive characters that just kind of freaked me out a little bit as a kid. Seeing myself as small Little Mac, there was no way I could beat these characters in my mind. I would only get past Glass Joe and be afraid to fight Von Kaiser. Eventually, when I got older, I kind of grew out of the fear of these massive characters and started beating people. But I would always reach this wall, and that wall would always be Bald Bull, and I could never beat him, no matter how many times I tried. I remember sitting there on the couch having my dad have to beat him for me, but then after that I couldn't do anything because I couldn't beat the next challenger. So years go by without me beating Bald Bull by myself, and it just kind of hit a wall, and I didn't really play the game for a while, and I just kind of stopped playing it overall. Until around a few years ago, I finally beat him, and the challengers that came next. The next big wall that I hit was definitely Soda Popinski. No matter what, I couldn't beat him, and I don't know why, because nowadays he's just so simple. So I keep playing the game, practicing, and I finally make it to Mr. Sandman, and he was definitely the next wall that I hit. Still to this day, Mr. Sandman continues to be the hardest character in the game for me, just because of how random his punches can be. So eventually I finally made it all the way to Mike Tyson himself. Mike Tyson was without a doubt the most intimidating character in the game, because He was so high up on this mantle and no one I knew could beat him. For days and days I practiced and practiced and I could not beat him. It took me hundreds of tries. But then I realized there was a big problem I was having. Instead of playing on a traditional CRT TV, I was playing on an LCD screen. And for those who don't know, the difference between playing on the two is that playing on a CRT, there isn't any input lag when you press a button. On an LCD, there is. So whenever I would play on an LCD screen, I would press the button and there would be a few milliseconds in between me pressing the button and the action happening on screen. Since I was playing on an LCD, it was almost impossible to dodge the first flurry of punches that Mike Tyson throws. And these punches are one-hit knockouts. So getting hit just once could jeopardize the whole match. For anyone wondering, yes, it is possible to beat Mike Tyson on an LCD. It's just near impossible, but if you can get past the first flurry of punches without getting hit once, you have a great chance of doing it. So after I realized my mistake, I hooked up my NES to my old CRT TV I had in my basement. And about 2 tries in, I actually did it. I defeated Mike Tyson.
I did it. Fuck yeah! That's it, baby. It's over. It's over. I beat him. Fuck you, Mike Tyson. Yeah, fuck my finger speed, right?
What's so great about this game is that there's not anything else like it. It's so simplistic and it's so unique to everything else in the gaming industry that I haven't found anything like it at all. Every single one of the characters in this game is great. They have their own unique style, their own unique fighting style. They come from all across the world and they touch the stereotypes of each person. Now some people might think that's racist, but it's not. It's super funny because it makes fun of everyone, and if you can't laugh at yourself, you're doing it wrong. This game progresses from easy to hard to impossible. You start with a scrawny Frenchman who represents how bad the French army is, and then you work your way up to the big, giant, massive fighters that are in the later game. There's no commitment needed to this game either, which is what I love about it most. You can sit down, have a great time, type in a cheat code, and fight almost any fighter in the game and be done with this game in about 45 minutes. That's one sitting. Now, you may need to practice against some later fighters. You might even need to practice against some early fighters as well if you don't know what to do, but you can do that whenever you want. You don't have to sit there for hours and hours and hours. Like what I did for Mike Tyson, I would only fight him maybe like 10 times a day and be done with it. I wouldn't let myself go crazy over it. There's all of these lists I've seen online of the hardest video game bosses of all time, and I always see Mike Tyson near the top, which I don't understand how you can put him up there. Sure, he's tough for the first minute and a half, but after that, he's one of the easiest fighters in the game. There isn't any BS in this game either. You can beat every character if you put your mind to it. There's not some Deus Ex Machina or some second stage to a boss fight in this game. It's just simple. Either you knock him down or he knocks you down. And personally, I don't like doing combos when it comes to fighting games, which is what I love about this game, because there isn't some button mashing where you have to press up, down, left, start, B to do some super special move. You just press select when you get a star. And the sounds in this game are so satisfying as well. When you land a star punch against an enemy, it's just so amazing, even though it's so simple. You have the crowd cheering when the round starts. You have the bell ringing. Everything mixes perfectly. Also, Mario is the goddamn ref. What isn't there to love about this game? 30 years after this game has been released, people are still finding Easter eggs to help them beat fighters. And I'm pretty sure Nintendo announced that there still are little secrets in this game that no one has found. This game is the gift that keeps on giving. So please, if you haven't played this game ever, stop whatever you're doing and go do that right away. Those are pretty much all of the reasons why this game is my favorite fighting game, and also my personal favorite game of all time. So I think that wraps everything up about this video. Please check the description, slap that like button, slap that subscribe button, and let us know in the comments if you like this type of video, because I know Aaron's going to be releasing his video next week, and I think Chris is going to be releasing it the week after. As always, I'm Josh. Aaron will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.